All right, in today's video, we are going to be talking about CRMs for real estate agents. What is a CRM? What makes a good CRM? What are a couple of different examples of CRMs and how you can implement CRMs into your business to scale your real estate business? So, first of all, what is a CRM? A CRM is a customer relationships manager. And so, what that looks like from a very basic description is this is where all of your contact information for all of your leads, customers, clients, is going to live. This is where we're going to keep up with notes on conversations. This is where we're going to keep up with hot, warm, cold. This is where we're going to keep up with certain tasks and how we've communicated with different individuals. So, what makes a good CRM? Starting off is making sure that your CRM has some sort of API key capabilities or lead flow capabilities. And what that means is that whenever we advertise on online lead sources, we can oftentimes apply our CRM's API capabilities to that online lead source so that they can talk, communicate, that they can send your lead's contact info directly into your CRM. So, an example of that is if I were to advertise on Zillow and someone jumps on Zillow and they enter in their information and Zillow wants to contact me or send me that lead. Usually it would come over in an email. I would have to make sure that I was on top of my email. For speed to lead, that doesn't really work very well. Or I download the Zillow app. It notifies me on the Zillow app, just like all of my other apps. And so sometimes I'll miss it. Whereas if your CRM has an API capabilities, Zillow can actually send that leads information over to your CRM so that you can manage it in your CRM. And this is how you're going to stay super organized as you begin to spend money on online leads. Google has the same capabilities. So if you have a Google PPC ad or a Google Local Services ads, when a lead enters in their contact information, it can actually send that contact information over to your CRM so that you can work it out of your CRM. That way, your CRM becomes a one-stop shop for your prospecting or lead management system, and you're not relying on trying to organize and differentiate many different online lead sources and many different databases. You'll get super overwhelmed and confused and potentially miss out on income or lead opportunities because you're juggling many different lead sources and many different online lead databases. Whereas if we have a CRM that has lead flow capabilities, that has an API key, then we can manage that all in one system. Now, if you are already or if you already have a CRM and it does not have API capabilities, an alternative that you can look into is Zapier. Zapier is a very cool tool that kind of serves as its own API connector. And so, what it can do is, as long as the different types of technologies or the different businesses have a relationship with Zapier, you can actually set up an API through Zapier, meaning I can go into Zapier and say, okay, Zapier, I want Gmail. When I receive this email from Zillow, I want it to then create a contact in my CRM. And so you can do that through Zapier, and so that you don't have to actually set that up through your CRM. So sometimes that can be a solution if your CRM does not have its own API or lead flow capabilities. All right, next, what makes a good CRM is going to be action plans. So, action plans are a series of emails, texts, tasks, or changes to the CRMs that you want to happen. And so, a lot of action plans that I see, for example, is a 32 touch plan over a year. Or when a new lead comes in, you have your 10 days of pain where maybe they get 10 days of emails. You can actually set this up where you have already created the emails and they are set up and ready to go. I'm going to show you an example of what an action plan looks like. All right, so a 21-day follow-up plan. So this is an example of an action plan, which is that immediately when the automation kicks it off, which I'll go over automations, a task gets created for me, right? This is actually an action plan that shows, on the 35th day I get this task, on the 49th day I get that task. So that is a task-oriented action plan. But we can also um, make sure that we've got some emails here. I'm going to show you an example of an action plan that's got the email associated with it. So you can see here, this action plan is an email action plan. So immediately when this lead enters the database, it's going to get drip email number 1, right? Then it's going to get 3 days later, number 2, number 3, number 4, all the way through 15. So this action plan allows me to stay on top of this lead by automatically sending them emails. I'm not pushing go on this, right? This is automatically sending emails all the way through 64 days. So that's 2 months of follow up. You can Also, usually in a CRM, set this up, you may be worried, but wait, what if I don't want it to send because they've responded to me? This action plan can automatically pause when that lead responds to an email. So different CRMs will have different metrics like that. And so the next thing I want to talk about is actually the automation, which is with or without one click of a button, the action plan can start. So your question may be, okay, I've got my action plan created, but how does it actually start? Or who does it start with? And so you can, in most CRMs, set up an automation that when A, B, or C happens, the action plan can then kick off. So, for example, I don't want everyone in my database to get this action plan. This action plan is actually only for my Google PPC ad leads. And so, how does my database, how does my CRM know how to only send this to the Google PPC ad leads? Well, my automation is set up so that depending on the lead source, it's going to get that action plan assigned to it. And so you can set up different action plans for many different lead sources so that when that when that lead enters into your CRM, then your CRM on your behalf starts sending emails and following up, creating tasks for you to follow up the next day or within an hour, created tasks for you to follow up with a handwritten note, sends out a text for you. And so this can obviously be extremely powerful in terms of scaling your business. How do you buy back your time? Well, you get a CRM that follows up with leads for you. Talk about speed to lead. Well, think about a lead entering in their information and you automatically hitting their inbox with an email, automatically sending them a text. And then if you get that notification from your CRM, you can automatically give them a call, or it can set up a task for you to call tomorrow or the next day, right? And so that's going to be super powerful when you're looking for a CRM. The next thing that I find that not all CRMs have, but it is very, very helpful, is an integration with your email provider and or your calendar. And so if you can get your CRM to be a one-stop shop for your communication, and what I mean by that is if I were to send a lead an email in my Gmail account, like I'm signed into Gmail, I send a lead, but I want that to actually show up in my CRM so that I can remember where I left off on that communication, or I can remember what was the last email that I sent them. And so if your CRM doesn't sync with your email provider and your calendar, then you can't really see that. So I'm going to show you an example of how powerful this is. For example, let's look up a lead here. So you can see here in this, don't let this CRM overwhelm you. But you can see here that my email is connected to my CRM. So any email that I send, it's going to populate my CRM without me having to do anything, right? My calendar also syncs with it. And so I can see exactly what my calendar looks like in my CRM so that if I book an appointment while I'm on the phone with someone in my CRM, I can actually schedule around my calendar because it's synced. So it's super powerful. You can usually send emails from your CRM as well. And it's going to populate not only your email, but it keeps up with your CRM so that you're able to stay on track of your follow up and understand what it is or where you left off. What was the last thing you actually sent to that lead? All right. Now, a couple of these are are bonus features, right? Not all CRMs are going to have this, or if they do, it's going to be an upgraded charge. But this has been a game changer, not only from a standpoint of buying back your time, but also this has helped us in a couple of legal disputes, which has been awesome. And so a good CRM is going to have an option to apply call recording and or transcription into your CRM. All right, so here is an example of how this call transcription works. So first of all, this call, even though it's only 38 seconds, it is recorded in this CRM. So I can go back and play that. Where that will be really helpful is when you have a 10 or 20-minute conversation and you're starting to prepare for your listing consultation or your buyer consultation, and you want to make sure that you put that personal touch. You want to make sure you go into that appointment understanding where you left off and all of the personal things and pain points and timing and motivation that you want to tackle in that appointment. You can actually go back and listen to that call to make sure that you understand it. And then an extra plus in today's world of AI, you can have your CRM, depending on the CRM, actually transcribe and give you a summary or a transcript of what that conversation looked like. So that can be even more powerful when you're preparing for your appointment, so you don't have to spend 10 or 20 minutes actually listening to the call. You can scroll through and read to familiarize yourself with that actual conversation. It can be super powerful. Lastly, for what makes a good CRM, and again, not all CRMs will have this, but some sort of reporting and or tracking. I am a big believer in making data-driven decisions, not emotional-based decisions. And in order for us to make data-driven decisions, we actually have to have the data. And so oftentimes, if you have experience with the dialer, you get a certain level of data with number of calls, number of conversations more than 2 minutes, the different types of lists that you called. And so some CRMs will have tracking or reporting involved with their CRM or with their capabilities. And I think that's really important with the CRM, especially if you are goal setting around leading indicators versus lagging indicators. Meaning, if you are creating a goal based off of number of calls, I would love if your CRM could actually track the calls for you so you don't have to keep up with the tally, right? Or number of conversations or who exactly did I call. And so a lot of CRMs will have some sort of reporting function where I can see number of calls that I made. If I am Milena here, I can see that I called 6 people in the last 7 days. I can see who those 6 people are. And so this is a really cool metric. A lot of CRMs will have different types of tracking. So like this CRM has how many batch emails I sent, how many texts I sent, the different types of lead sources, how many calls that I make, right? And so that's going to be really beneficial for tracking your business to understand when you are maybe in a lull or in the roller coaster of real estate. You may be wondering, why was I in that roller coaster? Why was I in a down situation or a down season? Why was I in a peak season? And oftentimes you can look back at the data and relate what the activity was 3 months ago to where you are in your business. And so if you don't have that data, then that's really difficult to do. So a good CRM is going to actually track that for you. All right. Now, in my experience, there are traditionally two types of CRMs. One is what I call a one stop shop. And what I mean by a one stop shop is it traditionally comes with not only a CRM, but also an IDX website. And what an IDX website looks like is, I'm just going to give you an example. An IDX website is where your leads can actually search for real estate on your website. So here's a real estate team here, thepiercegroup.com. This is search.thepiercegroup.com. So I, instead of looking on Zillow, and now look through your website. And so why that is very important is because you can now see that activity. That activity is usually reflected in your CRM. And so you can see who is active and who's not. One of my favorite features about a CRM is whenever a lead has ghosted you, but they're constantly on the website. So now you know, because your CRM is telling you, hey, there's website activity, there's website activity, there's website activity, that they are still worth me following up because they are clearly still looking and favoriting different types of real estate. Meaning they are most likely going to buy or sell in the future. So even though they ghosted me, I can still follow up with them because they are still on my website. And so some CRMs have that. Now, usually, if they are a one-stop shop or they have that option, they sometimes are not the best with automation, action plans, etc., right? They do have the basics, and that is usually all you need. But if you are looking for a best-in-class automation and or action plan setup or some sort of system that is really high functioning, that those high functioning CRMs usually do not come with that IDX website. There are other companies that provide that IDX website for those other CRMs that may not have them. And so a couple of examples of one-stop shops here is Commissions Inc. So Commissions Inc. is great because it, like I said, it is that one-stop shop. It has a CRM and it has um, that IDX website. You can also, through a lot of these leads, especially the one-stop shop, you can also enter into a relationship where they run ads for you, or Google PPC ads, or Facebook social media ads. A lot of these CRMs have those capabilities. And so a couple of examples of one-stop shops are Commissions Inc., otherwise known as Sync, KV Core, Boomtown, Sierra Interactive, and Brivity. All of these are awesome CRMs. There are a lot of successful agents that use them. Now, if you are looking for a best in class automation that may or may not come with that IDX website, is Follow Up Boss, HubSpot, Pipedrive, and Top Producer. I use Follow Up Boss. I have used a couple of these CRMs, and I have found that I would rather have a best in class automation and then pay for an IDX website that is separate. A very great IDX website provider is a company called Ylopo. So they can oftentimes make a search site or an IDX site, and they can also make you a branded website as well that links to your CRM so that you don't have to have one of these one stop shops in order to have an IDX site that filters leads into your database or that filters activity into your CRM. And so these are really awesome CRMs. Follow Up Boss is going to be the best of the best in terms of automations. HubSpot is great because it is very cheap. They actually have a free version. Pipedrive is a little bit newer on the scene. It's great with automations, action plans. It is very simple and user friendly. Top Producer is about as old school as you can get in terms of real estate CRMs. It has been around. They are the definition of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they know what they're doing. It is great. I think it is pretty cost effective. However, in my opinion, it is a little old school in the way that it operates. It's not the most user friendly. In terms of one stop shops, the only one stop shop that I have actually utilized in my business, I have seen and talked and coached agents that use all of these. I have used Commissions Inc. in my business. I absolutely loved it. It was a great starting point for me to scale my business. Once I understood what I actually wanted out of an IDX website and what I actually wanted out of a CRM, Commissions Inc. became a little too clunky and old school for me, which allowed me to transition to Follow Up Boss with Ylopo providing an IDX website. All right, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you were able to take away a few key items around what a good CRM looks like and how you can implement a CRM into your business so that you can scale your real estate business. If you want more tips and tricks on how to scale your real estate business, check out a few of my other videos. If you'd like to learn a little bit more on how I can actually customize and implement one of these CRMs into your business so that you don't have to and so that you can get a head start on scaling your business, there is a link in the description to my calendar. I would love to jump on a call and go over it with you. See you soon.